to another day of my equestrian life, and today we have a bridle. So today we're going to do some bridle work, and we're going to probably focus on the most important command that I have in mind for him that he needs improving with. And we're going to just make sure he likes this bit. I'm using a D-ring 2-piece snaffle because a D-ring is a good in-between of something not too soft and not too harsh to start a greener horse on. Honestly, I prefer 3 pieces, but I don't have one right now. So I'm just going to see if this even fits him. I might have to get him something smaller or bigger. This is a 4.5, which I sort of guesstimated because he has a smaller snout. He's got a big face, but his snout is real small. So I sort of just guesstimated that. We're going to see if it's going to fit. I also have an O-ring 3-piece that I am actually not the biggest fan of. I prefer egg butts over O-rings. And for the thing with the O-rings is that when you give it rein, the rein doesn't like compute right away. It's not an automatic, like it's a little, like by a little bit, it takes a minute till they feel the pressure. Because it's an O-ring. It was a loose O-ring, not connected. So it just, there's a small, almost like there's a small amount of time where the rein, the pressure, like it's just a little, how do you say? The O-rings are delayed, like it's not immediate pressure, it's a little delayed before the pressure gets to them, which is why I'm not the biggest fan of starting horses on it, because like when pressure is like one of the most important parts of horse training, pressure and release. So with the O-ring, it's kind of hard because it has that little delay because it's a loose O-ring. So I'm not the biggest fan of using that right off the bat, but I do like the bit. I am not the biggest fan though that it might pinch them on the cheek. That is also another thing to be worried about. So we're going to try this D-ring 2-piece, which is what my Mustang was actually on when I was training him. Another thing to check for when you just bought a younger horse, make sure they have their wolf teeth pulled out. Let me actually check his real quick before I stick a bit up in there. Because a lot of horses, so horses don't get their wolf teeth till about 4, 5, 6, which means 2 and 3 that they don't have their wolf teeth, which is a lot of times when horses are broken. So he may have been broken before at like 3 years old and he didn't have his wolf teeth. But at 4 or 5, where he was either sitting or wasn't in training and was just being let to grow or whatever the heck people do, his wolf teeth grew. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of times horses that are 5 or 6 have wolf teeth. And it's going to interfere with your bit training. Oh yeah, let me see in there. Open your mouth. Open. I can't quite see. I can't. Sir. Sir. Excuse me, sir. Okay, so he does actually have his wolf teeth. You just put all my ideas into the crapper. Seriously? Yeah, the lady I bought him from said that he had issues with the bit. I was like, did you check his wolf teeth? And she's like, no, I haven't got his teeth done. So he does have his wolf teeth. They're going to have to get pulled out before we start bit work, which who knows when we'll be able to do that. Okay, that's fine. Then we're going to switch it up a bit. Sebastian had his wolf teeth pulled out, but I bought him a little later in life at like 7. Normally by 7 they'll have the wolf teeth out, but both him and the Mustang I bought at 6. Well, we actually don't know. He's between 4 and 6. I'm going to say 5. Maybe 6. I'm not going to say 4 though. It's a little young. But it's a common thing for them to have their wolf teeth, and it's very uncomfortable to do bit work when they have their wolf teeth. And it's going to cause more confusion than teaching. So I'm going to have to get those suckers pulled out, which is fine. I think they're about due for their teeth too. And you need to get your teeth done. I mean, he hasn't had any issues with eating, so I haven't been concerned, but we need to get you all checked out. He's got all his blood, all his coggins and blood work done, but he hasn't had his teeth done in the month that the lady owned him. The lady only had him for a month. Are we gonna spend an hour licking everything again? Okay, that's what you want to do. Alright, so yeah, just double check for the wolf teeth, and the wolf teeth are on the top and bottom of their mouth, and they're like way, way back there. It's not these teeth right here. These are like their canines. I don't know actually what they're called, but that's not the wolf teeth. The wolf teeth are like in between their molars and the teeth here, just exactly where the bit will sit. So that's where the wolf teeth are. So you gotta check that. You gotta check for that, because you don't want to start them or ride them in the bit until they've had the wolf teeth. But I have a hackamore. I have several hackamores. I even have a bitless bridle. I have a lot of things. So if I want to start riding him and the vet can't come down here for a little while, because we're real far from when the vet is, so it's mainly about when we can get him down here. I might just start him in the hackamore. Maybe even the halter if he's fine with it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of starting in the halter because I've eaten dirt a lot of times. And most of the times it's been in the halter, I'm not going to lie. But we're just going to teach him to yield to some pressures. And originally what I wanted to do with the bit was to teach him to drop his head off the bit. Because like I said, he's got a bit of a high head problem when he gets spooky. And that's probably like the worst thing about him right now. So I wanted to work on that, but you can't really teach that unless you have a bit in your mouth. So we're just going to work on yielding of pressures. I'm going to work on parking him up nicely, and then maybe I'll try and sit on him today. Probably not, but if I feel like he's up to it, I might. But I'm going to get off right away. We're not going to start any of that just yet. We're not going to start really riding yet, but yeah, check for the wolf. It's going to save you some confusion of why won't he go on the bit? Why does he hate the bit so much? He's always trying. It's probably because he has wolf teeth. Probably because he has wolf teeth. Oh, he's so spooky. So, of course, surprise, surprise, he had his wolf teeth, which I was not expecting, but then again, I wasn't surprised. I was a little disappointed because I had a lot of plans to do today, but instead, I decided to switch gears, which I was going to do this all in the bit anyways. I was just going to do a bit more extensive work that was bit related, but we were going to do this anyways. But we just had to switch gears and do it in the halter, which is fine, and I just took the time to, done some parking up by the bucket work the day before, but I wanted to continue that because it's like a really good habit to make your horses stand still for mounting and as you get on, and he definitely struggles with that, but sadly, once again, you guessed it, my video footage decided to just get cut off. I know. I'm just don't even ask me about it. And I was really unhappy it got cut off because we probably did this for another 15 minutes. And I actually got him parking up really nicely. I got him flexing really nicely in the halter. Whoever actually worked him before did a good job teaching him to yield to pressures, even in the halter. So that was such a breeze. And I did get him parked up nicely. I got my legs rubbed all over him. I'm encouraging one specific command that I'll show you if I do it in the footage that I have. But you're going to see that I bend over and I'm going to teach him to eat a treat off the other side of him. You're going to notice that he was a little distracted. But the goal is that you want them to get them to bend their head over and take the treat from the other side. So I'm making the habit that when I stand on the bucket, the treat only comes from the other side of him. It doesn't come from in front of him, it comes from the other side. So that way it'll teach him and encourage him to park up nicely. And yeah, so I got him parking up nicely. I got him understanding the treat on the right side after 10 minutes of this work. And I actually ended up sitting on him. I had just waited till he offered nicely enough to stand nicely for me, and I was able to very slowly and very messily on purpose, like with my legs rubbing on him everywhere, was able to get on him. And it was just like 3 minutes that I sat on him, petting him and giving him treats from the other side of him, making him bend to take the treat. And I was just encouraging him that it's okay to stand still, and just because I'm mounting you doesn't mean we're going to go off and doing a ton of work. But it was a really nice 3 minutes. He's very uncomfortable bareback, I will tell you that. He did not do anything crazy. He didn't even move from the standing block, so I really rewarded him afterwards, and that's exactly where we stopped working for the day after I had mounted and dismounted him with no issues. So I'm probably going to continue doing mounting work. I'm not entirely going to focus on that, but we're definitely something he needs to work on, among many other things. But we'll most likely be working in a halter and heck more until we get those teeth pulled out. But yeah, it was a very good day. I was really happy to throw my legs over him and to see that he reacted very nicely, and he was very polite, very kind, very gentle. He didn't, like, the one thing I was worried about getting on him bareback, that he was going to be sensitive to leg, and he wasn't. So that's when we ended off on a good note.